No need to brag about something. Just give a toast to the real folks. No paper weight. Real weight. Let's talk about it. Foundation of Black Americans, right? People say, oh, it's so loud. Don't you go to a head person in charge when you want to get stuff done? So now, people are saying that. Rightfully so. He had to call these schools out, you know what I'm saying? I'll let them know, hey, I'm looking for what's best for my people. It ain't about all this popularity contests of who's in politics, who's going to like the most and whatnot. I mean, it's an illegitimate system. It's not made for us. What we do, what we got to do, negotiate a deal where we can get stuff in our interest. Kind of. Like every other group. Let me show y'all real quick. What I'm talking about. Ice Cube went on CNN and he explained his side of the story and he's making sense. Let me tell you. I can show you better. I can tell you.
Hi, Mr. Wonderful from
Shout out Ice Cube, you know, because he knows what he's doing.
Ice Cube.
Now you got Chris Coleman,
keep stacking those ass.
who's a little bit abrasive, you know what I'm saying? He's the type of dude that'll just, he goes with the status quo. Not too far left, not too far right. It's enough to keep yourself. You really have to look at this whole situation. Does it really make sense? Bash Ice Cube. At the end of the day, nobody's delivery. What they promised. So that already shows you. this interview and I'll break it down for y'all. Ice Cube really trying to say. Trying to let y'all know political process was sham. And it should be in order to do that, we gotta break them down. Contractually. Have them stick to something like the treaties. Even though they don't respect them shits and follow. It's something that's written down, litigated. Let's hear what Ice Cube got to say.
If you know anything about him, and you probably do, you know he started his career rapping in defiance about police presence and the realities of inner city life. And he got political with his songs as well recently during the Trump administration, most recently in 2018. Here's a taste.
Arrest the president. You got the evidence. That is Russian intelligence.
Now we see a shift. Now he wants to work with President Trump. Here's what the president had to say most recently about Black Lives Matter.
The first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, I said, that's such a terrible term because it's such a racist term. It's a term that sows division between blacks and whites and everybody else. And it's a very bad term for blacks. But they were very angry. It's a Marxist organization.
No, y'all know that's a bunch of bullshit, right? But Trump is going to turn it around and do the Trump thing, right? Because on the one hand, his constituency have to feel like, oh, he's behind us. Yeah, fuck Black Lives Matter. Not knowing that Black Lives Matter is really what it means. Black Lives Matter. You know what I'm saying? Concerning how he feels it matters is a whole different story. Now, the organization has nothing to do with the actual quote-unquote movement. So when they talk about Black Lives Matter, we're actually talking about our lives. But in terms of what Trump is talking about, he's talking about these organizations like Black Lives Antifa. Black Lives Matter is an organization, but it's only been an organization because it was funded through nefarious endeavors. But yeah, all in all, we know what that means. When we say hands up, don't shoot, doesn't mean we're putting our hands up to get arrested to die by knife or something like that, you know? Or surrendering. It means stop killing us, basically. So let's continue.
With all that going on, and how the president continues to speak about there being no systemic inequality, it's no shock that Ice Cube got some heat for deciding to work with the Trump administration. He wants to deal with it. I want to understand it. So should you. So here is.
He wants to deal with it. He wants to understand it. So should you. Let's see what he has to say. But mind you, the way he's speaking, you can already tell who he's against and who he's for. So, from a biased perspective, there's always going to be a certain nuances in the way one delivers the news, yeah? Which is, in and of itself, a conflict of interest. So, let's continue.
Is Ice Cube on prime time. Thank you for taking the opportunity, brother. I appreciate it.
Call him brother.
Thanks for having me. Chris, your lead-ins are a little misleading.
How so?
Well, the Platinum Plan is not my plan. I came up with the contract with Black America, and I didn't run to go work with any campaign. Both campaigns contacted me. Both campaigns wanted to talk to me about the contract with Black America. One campaign said, we love what you have, but let's really dig into it after the election. And one campaign said, we love what you have. Do you mind talking to us about it? And that's what I did. So I didn't run to nobody. And so that was real misleading to me.
Well, I didn't say you ran to anybody. I said that you were taking a pivot.
Well, you said I ran over to the Trump team instead of the Biden team. That's just not true.
Well, but you are working with the Trump team instead of the Biden team, and people are giving you heat for it. What do you say to them?
Well, I'm willing to work with both teams, but I'm just working with whoever is willing to work with me. So the Trump campaign came to me and asked me to explain to them some of the contract with Black America. That's what I did. I'm not playing no more of these games, these political games. We're not part of a team. We have very raw problems, especially the wealth gap in this country when it comes to Black Americans. So I'm going to whoever's in power, and I'm going to speak to them about our problems specifically. I'm not going there talking about minorities. I'm not going there talking about people of color or diversity or none of that stuff. I'm going there for Black Americans, the ones who are the descendants of slaves. And that's what I'm going to talk to anybody who's in power with that. So if anybody got a problem with that, it seems like a personal problem.
Well, here's the problem, and it is very personal, as you know, for a lot of people of color, because they'll say, well, why would you pick Trump when he says there's no such thing as systemic inequality?
I'm not picking nobody. He's the president.
But why do you think he'd want to do something for the community when he says there's no such thing as systemic inequality?
I don't know what he want to do. I just know what the man said. I know what he said to the country. I've never met Donald Trump. So I don't know what he's going to do. I just know what he said he was going to do. So both of them have a plan. Both of them say they're going to do something. And who knows what's really going to happen after November 3rd. Nobody knows from each side. We're all hoping that candidates keep their campaign promises. So that's just it.
So let's look at it this way. I think that you're right to be skeptical. Let's start with the Democrats, because even though there is a traditional connection between Black voters and the Democrats, you could also say you've been let down or forgotten by Democrats in a lot of situations that would have mattered. Then you say, all right, so then what makes one side better than the other? That's where you get in trouble, which is, do you really think that Donald Trump can be trusted as much as you could trust Joe Biden?
I don't think I'm not trusting any of them. I'm just going by action. That's all I'm going by. I'm not going by words. I'm not going by rhetoric, not going by media spin, not going by none of that. You know, I'm not on nobody's team. I'm not on Team Blue, not on Team Red.
So then I have that wrong.
I'm an independent person, and I believe that.
See how I actually wrote that down? That's from a position of power. Not anybody's team. Not blue, not red. He just wants overall advancement for his people because it's the most constructive and actually logical thing to do.
That's what Black people need to do, is become independent, and we need to get something for our vote. You know, that may not happen, but it's gonna happen.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I look, if I had brought you here to fight with you, you would have known it. What I'm saying is, I think I did get it wrong, and I want to make sure I get it right. So saying you're working with the Trump team is wrong. What you did was, when they asked to talk to you about it, you said yes. If Biden had asked to talk to you about it now, you would have gone to them the same way. It's not about you choosing anything. It's you working with everybody who's got a chance of doing anything.
I'm working with whoever's in power. Yeah, I'll work with both. Whoever's in power, I'm going to work with. So whoever wins, they'll hear from me.
Okay, so
You know,
I'm glad you
frequently.
came to clear it up. So Ice Cube is not with the Trump campaign. He's just giving his ideas, and anybody who wants to do something with him, fine. Do you believe they are doing anything with your ideas?
I believe, you know, they looked at the contract with Black America and they updated their plan, but it's their plan. Now I have my plan. My plan is broad. It goes beyond the public sector. It goes into the private sector, banks, you know, even the movie industry. So we got to deal with a lot of different, I think, companies, corporations, and even government when it comes to solving this problem. I believe it's a bipartisan problem. I believe it's a bipartisan problem when it comes to the issues, when it comes to Blacks in America and what's going on. It's not a Democrat problem. It's not for them to solve. It's not for the Republicans to solve. It's for both of them to solve. They do it when it comes to debt ceiling. They do it when it comes to getting us in wars. They seem to come together when it's something that really affects America. And I don't think nothing affects America more than the situation that Black Americans find ourselves in. This country is coming apart at the seams, and it's not going to come together after January 3rd, no matter who's the president, unless we deal with this wealth gap.
You have the economics. All of it extends from poverty, which is an extension of opportunity, which is an extension of a system that doesn't give equal opportunity, and you see it everywhere. Hiring, education, finance, all of it. So acutely, we've been looking at what happens when policing goes wrong in communities. It doesn't give you concern that the president has handled police violence the way he has in terms of his commitment to work on any of the issues that you think are important?
We've been dealing with police violence in this country from day one. So police violence is just part of our life here. So, you know, the thing is this, once we get some capital, we'll be treated better. This is a capitalistic society.
True.
And if you ain't got no money, you see how people get treated on the streets when they ain't got no money.
Not just money, wealth. Wealth. You got to be able to build up wealth within the community.
Yeah, you know, to put it in greater terms. But, you know, at the bottom line is, you know, dollars bring dignity. And so everybody in America knows that. When you got a little more money, they treat you a little better. So we need to close this wealth gap. You know, you got people, you know, families making $120,000 or worth $120,000, and you got Black families worth $200. That is just, it's just an enormous wealth gap that keeps growing. It's not getting smaller. Do the research, and you'll see this is the problem in America. It's because Black people have no capital. We own half of a point when it comes to all the wealth in America. Half of a point. 13.5% people living off half of a point. We cannot survive in America another 100 years living like this.
The issue is real. The problem is properly identified. They do have access to capital of about $500 billion, but it doesn't say that it would be earmarked within the Trump plan for communities of color. But we'll see what you can get done. And I make you this promise, not just because I'm a fan, but the issue matters. As you learn and as you see action and reaction or inaction, you have a place on this show to discuss it. That's a guarantee.
I appreciate it, Chris. Yeah, I'll be back to discuss and let you know what I know, what I find out. But I'm gonna give it to you straight up.
It's the only way I take
it.
It doesn't go well any other way on this show. Ice Cube, I wish you the best. Stay healthy. Be well.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right. We'll be right back.
My name is Chad, and this is my 15-year-old daughter, Bethany. And if you watch to the end of this video, I'm going to show you a business model that she's using to generate a 5-figure income online, and she's only working at it 1 hour per week, or actually a lot of times it's even less than 1 hour per week. And you might ask, how does this work? How could a 15-year-old generate
So what does that tell y'all? Let y'all know right there. Ice Cube is trying to get paper. So what did he do? This is what Diddy did. I'm gonna let you go.
From New York to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
So here we are. Ice Cube. That's right, Ice Cube. F the police, Ice Cube. Somebody I consider a friend who I haven't spoke to. Because I don't know why he's jumping out the fray right now trying to help Trump write his policy for black folks. Ice Cube. In all this time, and all the scholars, and all the political folks who are very involved, actively on the front line, trying to uplift black folks financially through HBCUs and black banks and all of these things. We haven't heard of Trump meeting and writing policy with any of those people. Any of those people. But for some reason, every time it comes to speaking for black folks, finances, policy, why is it always a rapper or someone who's writing the policy? Why is that? With all of the educated black folks that have been working on black policy and black financial upliftment for generations. But Trump wants to meet with Ice Cube? Or Ice Cube wants to jump in and help Trump? Now, do as you want to with your time, Ice Cube. But you don't find that peculiar?
Really?
And this is just me. Ice Cube, if you're going to help people, please have them participate locally. Because you still need your state and local authorities and politicians aligned on any policy that's going to get down on the ground and help a specific black community. Because it's not like the president just gets to tell cities and states what to do.
Right.
That's not how the system works, guys.
Hasn't Cube's thing this whole time been that for him it's about show him the money? Who has the money? Isn't that kind of how he sees it?
Yeah. I mean, and it's also about an agenda for Black America, like who has one and who's willing to speak to him and who's willing to look at the contract that he's put together. He was on with Roland Martin some weeks ago, and there were black women who were challenging Ice Cube, saying, how come your contract with Black America doesn't include anything about black women? And how come you haven't talked to black women about this contract?
Did he answer?
He said he needed to do better and he needed to work on it. But my point is why are we doing this right now?
It's interesting. The timing is interesting, isn't it?
Now, and I've said many times on the program, I don't mind a conversation around a black agenda or black people having a vote because black people do carry power as voters or a voting bloc. I don't mind any of those conversations, and I'm glad they're happening. But why are we participating in writing an agenda for Donald Trump 20 days before he's supposed to get voted? As if that proposal or plan will get enacted? Like how? Like how?
Well, how about this, Ebro? How are we starting off on an equal playing field of where, like, Cube looks at it as like, hey, I want to hear from the Democrats and I want to hear from the Republicans, as if the Trump administration is on even field with anyone else, even after 4 years of overt white supremacy. But they're just all equal. Whoever gives me the best idea, that's who I'm gonna go with.
Well, and here's the rub. Here's the rub on that. There are black people
who don't give a damn about who's a white supremacist or not, or who's a racist or aligned with white supremacy or not, as long as they come off the money. But this,
see that, y'all? What's over white supremacy and what's covert right? It's all the same shit. So you can't say, the lesser of two evils. It's all a corrupt system. You gotta do away with it and replace it with a system of justice. Like the great movie Fuller Jr. said with his book, The Compensatory Concept Code, the United Independent Compensatory Concept Code. Like Cube said, we need to get independent, be independent thinkers, independent people. Forget all about that bipartisan bullshit. And it's so true because it's not thought out with us in mind. Ebro has a different story, the way he's explaining himself.
this is what always, in my opinion, gets us tripped up, is they can give you a bag of money and they can sprinkle money on you. But if white supremacy still exists in banking and real estate, when it comes time for you to spend your money or buy things, they're still going to do urban renewal plans to make whatever you bought have no value anymore, like they've done in the past, which is based in white supremacy and not enabling you to get to the wealth by devaluing your assets or your neighborhoods. You see what I'm saying? So that's the piece of the white supremacy, like, oh, well, it's all about the money, who's got the money. But if they're devaluing your assets, devaluing your neighborhoods, devaluing your property value, devaluing you and the places you live and exist, devaluing the places where you get education, have we really made inroads?
Well, then I also question what amount of money can really have the impact on the community at large. Or does the kind of money we're talking about affect people who are already well-to-do and thriving in spite of white supremacy? Whereas the people who most need the help, there's no amount of money that can be fed into the economy that's going to fix the problems. But those people are the victims of white supremacy every single day.
So as we go, as we see, it's the same old thing, you know what I'm saying? They try to twist it and make it seem like we don't see what's going on, but we see exactly what's going on. It's a tongue twister, you know, it's like you just gotta see the bigger picture, man. Analyze it from all directions. Like Ice Cube said in the pocketbook, Ego's talking about realistic approach to a systematic racism. And all roads lead out to white supremacy. So now we're looking at it like, how do we change a system that's been embedded 2,000 years? Not through Donald Trump, we ain't gonna do that. Or are we? Never know.
It's hard to manage your workload, especially when your team doesn't know who's working on what. But with Monday.com, my team and I can see everything we're working on, except for my ballet, which is private. Now that we're connected, we can plan and organize our work as a team and work on it together. Unlike the rigid tools we've tried in the past, it's really easy to get started with Monday.com.
But that's just the way it goes. We, as a people, have to see the bigger picture. We stand firm on our beliefs, you know what I'm saying, and our convictions. Know that we need more than half of a point in the wealth closing the wealth gap would be a smart way of strategically evaluating our assets. You know, and that's what we owe, you know, to the tune of a couple of $1 trillion. Should be able to, you know, have a little bit of comeuppance in order to make themselves feel more engaged. It's all about education, furthering the cause, the goal, which is reparations.
York City.
To replace the system, the white supremacy with a system versus our enemies necessary. So if we don't do that, we ain't doing jack. And that's real in the field. And if y'all ain't understanding that, the game just gonna swallow you whole.
York City.
The game stay brand new. One of the players, yeah. Can you dig it? It's your boy Matt Mizzy. And that's what I have to say about that.